Everyone has ideas of what the problems are in our society and how to fix them. We took it one step further. Our premise is simple: bring together people from different backgrounds to discuss ideas that affect us. If at the end of the show you feel informed, educated, or alarmed, we have done our job. We are the Social Disruption Network. Okay, gentlemen, the next segment I'd like to talk about is education. We put every year more and more money into education. Budgets across the country are strained. 75% of most metropolitan area budgets go to three areas. That is salaries, retirement, and medical health care benefits. 25% of those budgets go to paying for the upkeep on building, grass, maintenance, electricity, gas, library, books. So 25% actually goes into the maintenance and building construction and maintenance, paying bills, and trying to educate children, while 75% goes to well salaries, wages, retirement benefits, and health benefits. We're putting more money into the education system every year than most countries' GDP. Our problem keeps compounding. It keeps going down. Education standards go down, testing goes down, the high school graduation rate continues to go down. So my question is twofold. First, what is the problem? Secondly, how do we become the world's number one education destination as compared to being the 30th best in the civilized world? Any ideas? First, what's the problem? First, what's the problem?
Oh, please, if I may, because I'm gonna jump in this one. Just a little background, because I've talked to you guys before, but for the listeners, I've been a law enforcement officer for the last 6 years, and in that I've had to work details as a school resource officer. And the biggest problem I see is these children. A lot of these children, it's our society today that's influencing our children, because our children, not saying all of it, because there's a lot of great kids out there, but you have children that are so disrespectful to the teachers, to the faculty, I mean, to the janitors. They're so disrespectful, and it causes time in. And those 2-3 students, these teachers want to quit, and a big turnover for teachers. And the teachers, I know maybe it's like here, it's the pay is not enough, so you're not teachers enough money to deal with the church constantly giving them hell, preventing their fellow students from, because you have students that want to excel, they want to succeed. And we talked about earlier, my solution is you got to have stricter penalties on these students that are not doing. I mean, Bill Clinton put in, no child left behind, and I'm all for that. We got to help the kids, but it gets to a point where if the kid doesn't do, you have to penalize the parents. Of course, there's no culpability. You can't be entirely responsible for every little thing. A 12-year-old is not going to. You can't just kick a 12-year-old out of school. You can't do it. Okay. But you have to start penalizing the parents.
Okay, that's one solution. Next is, I think, David. What do you got, David?
Okay. First off, no child left behind was Bush, not Clinton. But
yeah, that was Bush.
As far as trying to fix educational,
I'm sorry, my bad.
It's okay. It's just didn't want to get cards and letters.
Thank you.
First off, you're not fixing the educational system. It's not happening. There are too many things in place that's going to prevent it. Number one, you're comparing a country the size of the United States with countries in Europe, and they're fractions. It's not going to happen. So you're not comparing apples to oranges, because you're not going to get the same educational system out west that you do in the South. That you can, it's a lot easier to fix the educational system in Delaware than it's going to be in Arizona or Montana. It's just not going to happen. Part of the problem that you have is the United States government and private sector has done such a great job of destroying the middle class and making sure that you have so many single parent homes. So you can't really blame it on the parents, because it's like, I was raised by a single mother. Yes, she did what she could, but good luck getting her to come by the school 2 or 3 times a week to go see what her kids are up to. But it's not the government's fault
that she was a single parent. It's her fault.
No, it's not.
Wait, but is it the kid's fault?
No, I'm just saying they have done their best to destroy the American family. because you have so many fewer and fewer dual parent households. You look at our, and that goes to the whole prison system. I mean, you look at how many low income people they have one or both parents in jail. You look at how many families that have more kids than they should ever actually have.
Okay, but that's not the government's fault. That's their fault.
But is that the kid's fault?
It's not the incarcerate. It's not the prison's fault that it's full. The prison it's not the prison's fault. If you don't commit a crime, I can guarantee you won't go to jail.
This is another issue. Let's save our time.
That's another issue, and I can personally guarantee you that's not a fact.
Because okay, we'll move on.
I've been in prison for doing nothing wrong, so I can tell you for a fact that doesn't work.
Okay, well,
but like I said, you've got so many things that are going to drive down the educational system. It's like, a parent can't say a teacher can't say a certain many kids, or else you're going to get the ACLU involved. You can't broach certain topics. You've got to teach to a certain test before you can do anything else. You can't go into details in school. You can't, all of a sudden you've got to stop everything January 31st to teach Black History Month. No matter what you're doing, there's so many roadblocks to improve the educational system that it's just not going to get fixed, which is why you got so many private schools nowadays.
Luis.
I'm over time. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem, David. There's a lot to talk about with this issue. We could go 2 days and still not cover everything. Luis.
All right. So, I don't know, introductions. I'm late, but I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. I'm going to leave it at that.
Hey, tell us your full name, by the way. Luis Mario Rodriguez Munch?
Luis Mario del Valle Rodriguez Munch.
That's it, yeah.
and I was serious about that. But okay, so the first part of of that question, I would like to answer it very straight.
Okay.
The issue that Sean brought it up, and thank you for being putting your life on the line all the time, brother. So I have a soft spot respect for all the law enforcement and military of this country.
That's Spencer.
Love you too.
Oh, Spencer. Okay, I'm sorry. I got the name wrong. Okay, but I don't want to make it too long. So the first part is there's sense of entitlement on the public on any system on education. Parents think that it's the responsibility of teachers to those kids to do well at school. Those kids need to be punished for being a brat in school. It's not the job of the teacher to educate your son on how to behave. So when those kids come in, they think they have a entitlement, and the parents as well. So I think it's a problem from the house. That's the start of how to fix it. Okay, I think the teachers don't have enough merit for giving all those tools to our kids. Now, my kids are in 2nd grade, and my education is from a different country. But what I see and what I research is, and I've seen it, these kids come to school and they think they have this entitlement of like, you have to do what I do, or because I pay my taxes, you are a piece of crap. And that's not the way it is. Parents need to educate their sons how to behave in school and how to study as well. I think it's a fault of the parenting, a single parent or a 2-parent household. It is the parents' responsibility to raise those kids and to punish them if they raise their hand to the teacher or say whatever to the teacher. So that's my take. Very quick, very sharp.
Awesome. Sean, you got something to say?
Yeah, I've got a few things to say. So the first thing I want to say is that compulsory education didn't become a thing until we had factories. And the reason that we brought compulsory education was so that we could discipline people. And I think that's an important thing to recognize. Second thing I want to point out is that yeah. Anyway, I don't have enough time to explain that. But it's a thing. Like all you got to do is look in history books. We can talk about that later, but I want to get through all my points here real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes on this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh shit.
So the next thing I want to say is that first off, the best education system in the world, And all those countries who were talking about comparing apples to oranges, they learned how to educate people from us. The fact is that during the Cold War, we put a lot of money into research. We put a lot of money into education because we saw it as very important for making sure that we could compete with the Soviet Union and that we didn't let communism, well, I mean, like what we call communism, state communism, to be the thing that it is. So there's this mystification of education. But the people who do the real research, there's this book. It's called Unmaking the Public University. It's by Christopher Newfield, and many books that points out that the problem with education is really, really simple. That other places are putting more money, and I agree with Gil. It's not just about raw dollars. If you look at those other countries, what you see is the trend is they're getting bigger percentages of the money that they put into education actually going to teachers, and that's a really important thing.
So how much more than 75% do you want to go to teachers?
Well, in other places it's 90.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous for the education spent on
Let
education.
me explain why it's ridiculous. The kids go.
Okay.
We have a 365-day year. The kids go to school in America on average 190 days out of the year. That's across the country from coast to coast. 190 out of 360, 365. The reason why adding more money to the problem to that is ridiculous is because the teachers actually have more time off than any other profession there is. They have a thankless job. That's a job I would not want. I would not want it. Money is not the issue with education because I tell you, you look at other schools of choice, the teachers make less, they work more, and they get better results.
No, those schools perform worse than
That
public
depends
schools
on
do.
the study because I've seen studies that say otherwise, and it depends on the region of America. Okay, and we could say that about public schools, but either way, let me tell you.
Well, so let's go to that point though real quick because I think that's really important.
Go real quick.
If every state in the United States funded education in the same way that states like Massachusetts, California, Washington, some of these other places that we might call them liberal or whatever, but they put a lot more money into education, they get a lot better results. And if all of our states got the same education funding and the same results as these places, then we wouldn't have the kind of education problems that we do. We'd have one of the best, if not the best, education system in the world.
Let me tell you, we got a minute and 30 left on this segment. Let me tell you what I think what the base element to all these problems are. The poverty. Now let's look at this for a second. People who have the families have a median income of $52,000 or more. Why are their graduation rates of their children so much higher than parents and families who don't? Now let's look at a second thing. The people who have a higher income tend to have more stable marriages, more successful children, healthier kids who can focus and do better in school. You look at poverty levels, the rate of incarceration is higher, the rate of single parent households are higher, the rate of children flunking out of high school are higher, the children who who are disrespectful, who are illiterate, who are a danger to society, the super predator, typically of a lower poverty level. But going back to the first segment and talking about more automation, that's just going to compound the issue even more. I personally don't think there is an issue with education system. I think it's more of an issue of at home, people not making enough money, families aren't together, and because of that, the trends show us, and the results show us that
Yeah.
families who are together that make more money have more successful high school students, less incarceration, less illiteracy. It all comes down to the money being brought into the home and the success of a two-parent household.
I think there's truth in what you're saying. I absolutely agree with you. And if we fixed poverty, I think that would fix a lot of it. But it's
Bingo.
also important. It's
Bingo.
also important to recognize that there's poverty everywhere,
And we're
and
going
some
to
places
agree.
do better than others
And
anyway.
we're going to agree. I think it's the level of income into the home because I tell you what, marriages are more successful if they have more income in the home. The husband and the wife get along better when there's more income in the home. The
Let's get
children
that basic
succeed.
income.